And this is why I think Billy Napier deserves another year just due to what happened in this game alone. You look up in the fourth quarter, what was it, about 5 minutes ago? It's tied 20-20. And he's playing with a freaking water boy back there. Georgia got bailed out in this game with the DJ Lagway injury, and that's all there is to say about it. Louisville had the better defense, had the better offense, had the better quarterback, they had better everything. It wasn't some fluky win. Louisville just dominated them. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, hope all of you had a great weekend. Hope all of you watched some college football, and hope all of you having a great Sunday. If not, hope this video can make it a little bit better. And man, oh man, I feel like I've been saying this past couple of weeks, but I can't believe it. Week 10 is officially in the books. Week 10. Golly, man, it's a bittersweet feeling knowing that the majority of the season, it's already over. However, the best is yet to come, because that 12-team playoff is going to be something serious. That's going to be a treat, and I'm really looking forward to that. But today, you know what we're here to do? It's Sunday. We're going to recap all the games. Simple as that. We had the little bro Ohio State notching out Penn State. You know, we're going to talk about that one. And what about Miami? In typical Miami fashion, they have a come-behind victory. Ole Miss puts up a 63 burger. Let me repeat that. A 63 burger on Arkansas. Oregon did exactly what I thought they were going to do. They take care of business against Michigan. Let me ask you a question. Was there a luckier team in college football on Saturday than the Georgia Bulldogs? I don't think so. Got a lot to say about that one. And we had number 10, number 11, and number 11. All three of those teams go down. I know what you're sitting there saying, Matt, you just said number 11 twice, buddy. And yes, I did. I meant to. Both Iowa State and Clemson are ranked 11th, and they both lost. The other team in that bunch, the A&M Aggies, whew, they got blew out by the Shane Beamers. The fighting Kurt Sonettis, all they do is win, and shocker, they won against Michigan State. Tennessee had a stereotypical at this point Tennessee performance against Kentucky. Offense struggled, defense did not. And don't look now, but SMU, they may have a legit shot at this new 12-team playoff. Just keep your eyes on now. A couple other games we're going to talk about, and you didn't think I forgot, did you? Vanderbilt, the nerds, they go into Auburn's home stadium, and that is a tough place to win, and they win by double digits. Go Diego, go Pavia, he's back at it again, and he owns Hugh Freeze. Don't get me wrong, I had a great time watching all the games, but on the grand scheme of things, probably one of the least exciting weekends in college football you're going to see this year. But for people like me and you, I mean, come on now. We don't care. College football is still college football. Any day you can sit on your couch for 12 hours and watch nothing but great SEC, Big Ten matchups. Yeah, that's a dream come true. Strap in, buckle up, get you a snack, get you a popcorn, get your favorite Millie Light to eat when you watch a video, because trust me, I do the same thing, but I'm mad, blah, 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 shit, crap, blah, 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 blah. Let's get into it. All right, first things first, Ashton Genty State, they won on Friday against San Diego State, 56-24. He was struggling there in the first half. San Diego State was stacking the box, but he still finished with 31 carries for 149 yards and 2 touchdowns. Is he going to win the Heisman Trophy? Probably not, but he'll be in the mix of things, and he's an amazing running back, so shout out to him. Saturday morning at 11 a.m., we had the big noon kickoff. We had the little bro Ohio State versus the Penn State Nittany Lions. And this game went exactly how I thought it was going to go. Penn State is Penn State. You shouldn't be shocked by this either. I told you guys this last year, year before. I swear I've been saying on the channel since I started it 5-6 years ago. They're irrelevant in college football. And every single year we have new people coming to the channel, and that's fine. I greatly appreciate you guys. And a lot of them are Penn State fans saying, well, Matt, how come you don't talk about Penn State? And it's as simple as this. They're irrelevant. There's no need to talk about them. And you guys see my top 12 rankings I post every single week on YouTube and Twitter. I've had Penn State at like, what was it, 7 or 8 these past couple of weeks? And I felt like having them, or wherever I had them, it was either 6, 7, or 8, was extremely high and giving them the benefit of the doubt. When I saw other people have them at 3 or 4, I was like, what? What are we doing? I personally do not take Penn State serious, and I hope some of you're starting to get in the same boat with me. But I do want to touch on this a little bit. In the preview for this game, I stated the magic number is 150. If Ohio State can rush for more than 150 yards, they win. If they don't surpass that, they lose. And guess what? They had 182 rushing yards. And why did Ohio State win? Not because of Will Howard. He was average Saturday. They won because of the rushing attack. On offense, Penn State couldn't do much of anything. Shout out to the Ohio State defense. Really impressed me, and I like them. When you can only muster up 6 points in a top 5 matchup on offense, you're probably not going to win. The thing with Ohio State, and it's why I'm so high on them, is if Will Howard can start playing better, they're going to be a real threat. As where it stands right now, I have him as a good quarterback, but I really do believe he can get into that great category, and I think he can play great / elite. Ohio State only having 20 points was actually them shooting themselves in their own foot. Will Howard fumbled one in that end zone. That was easily going to be 7 points, and he missed a couple wide open receivers for touchdowns as well. Yeah, Penn State shot themselves in the foot, but so did Ohio State, so it's not like Ohio State couldn't have beat them worse if they would have played better, because they could have. Ohio State has so many weapons, and I still believe this. They're the most talented team in the nation. I've been saying this for years as well. TreVeyon Henderson is one of my favorite running backs in the nation, and I think he's one of the most underrated running backs in the nation. Everybody talks about Quinshon Judkins, but TreVeyon Henderson, he's not even behind him. I think they're 1A, 1B. And oh yeah, that Jeremiah Smith kid, I guess you could say he's pretty good as well. I love Carnell Tate's game, been keeping up with him since he was in high school, and same thing for Brandon Ennis. I'll put it to you like this. When you have as much talent as Ohio State has, it's almost hard to not win. And that's why I've been so harsh on Ryan Day, because you shouldn't lose a game this year with this roster. Loving this Ohio State team. On the flip side for Penn State, like I said, you're irrelevant. You're not even worthy of my time. And oh yeah, by the way, let me clarify on this. For those of you saying this is a big win for Ryan Day, no it's not, because nobody takes Penn State serious. This is not a big win. This is not a big game for Ryan Day and Ohio State. This is just a business trip. So don't even try to consider this as a legit top 5 win for Ryan Day, because me and you both know it ain't. Moving on down here to another 11 a.m. game that was going on at the same time, we had the Cam Wards and the Dukies going at it. Typical Miami game, not too much to say, and here's how confident I am in Cam Ward. Miami was trailing in the third quarter, 28-17, and I never for a split second thought they were going to lose. The way Miami was moving the ball, even when Duke got a couple of stops, I was like, yeah, Cam Ward's still going to put up a 50 burger, and he did. He put up 53. Duke's an all right team, but if you don't have a great defense, which Duke doesn't, your offense has to play flawless, and they didn't. Malik Murphy, former Texas quarterback, had 3 interceptions. Cam Ward, well, I'll show you his numbers right here. Speaks for itself. Congratulations, Miami, and I think that score's a little deceiving because it felt a little bit closer. I'm not going to say too much about this besides I'm going to give some credit to Jackson Dart and Lane Kiffin for taking care of business. 63 against Arkansas. 63. Jackson Dart continues to prove he's one of the best quarterbacks, probably not just in the SEC, but in the country. He's been playing really good football, but what concerned me about this game is you gave up 31 to Arkansas, and I know the game was out of reach, but still, 31? Big win for Ole Miss going on down here at Oregon. I'm not even going to say much about this one either. They took care of business against Michigan, and that's all this was. Here's the thing with Michigan. The defense isn't as good as last year, and the offense, they're abysmal. And if you don't have a quarterback, you're not going to beat top-tier teams, and you're especially not going to beat Oregon. And what was actually shocking about this game a little bit is Davis Warren actually did okay. He had a QBR of 89.2, and Michigan still lost by 21 points. I was happy for the Michigan fans to see that Michigan actually did compete in this game, and they showed some life. But until they get a real deal quarterback, it's going to be extremely hard for me to take this team serious moving forward. And not just that, but the entire offense, they need weapons at the wide receiver position, and so on and so on. Speaking of quarterbacks, let's get into this game, ironically enough. The Florida Gators and the Georgia Bulldogs. Ah, man. I am so, not just heartbroken, but mad for that Florida fan base, the Florida team, and Florida program. That injury for DJ Lagway, devastating. That's the perfect word to use, and my prayers and thoughts are still going out to him and his family. It's tough, man, and I've been a huge Billy Napier critic these past couple of years, but he's had this team playing really good football the past 5 weeks. And I believe, just due to all these injuries, he should get another year at Florida, but that's really a different conversation for a different day. I'm not going to sit up here and say Florida was dominating Georgia in the first half if they weren't. It's more so of Carson Beck was Florida's MVP. He was their best player. And I saw the funniest thing. I think someone tweeted at me and they said, yo, Matt, Carson Beck is carrying Florida. And that's crazy. But what's even crazier is it was true. He was carrying them. As soon as DJ Lagway went down, I knew it. I was texting at least 7 to 10 people about the game, and everyone's saying, Matt, you think they got a chance? I was like, nope, it's over. And I was like, dude, it's 13-6 at half. I know they got a backup quarterback. And I was like, nope, no conversation. It's over. Period. The end. Anybody that actually watches ball knows if you don't have somewhat of a functionable quarterback there that can make some decent throws, it's over. Because you're not going to be able just to run the ball. And they did run the ball really well against Georgia, but you're not going to be able to run it consistently when that defense knows, yeah, that guy back there can't even throw. And if you think I'm wrong, number one, look at what happened in this game for case and example number one. Look at Michigan this year as case and example number two. And case and example number three, look at Florida State last year, now Jordan Travis. It sucks. That's all there is to say about it. It absolutely sucks. And I could sit up here and cry about the DJ Lagway injury for the next 5 minutes, but I think you get the point. I'll tell you this much and we'll get a move on. If I had to bet my house on it, if Lagway were to stay in that game, does Florida win? I would say yes. However, not going to sit up here and talk about what would have happened in the second half if he would have stayed in there, because he didn't. There's no need to even talk about it. What did happen is Florida's sixth-string quarterback / water boy, he got in the game, and I'm not going to throw too much shade at him because he was pretty much thrown to the fire. He probably didn't even expect to play this year. There's not much he could do, and I'll give him credit until he threw that interception. He didn't lose the game for Florida. And this is why I think Billy Napier deserves another year just due to what happened in this game alone. You look up in the fourth quarter, what was it, about 5 minutes ago? It's tied 20-20, and he's playing with a freaking water boy back there. And let me address this too, because I've had so many Georgia fans write in the comments and tweet at me the past 24 hours saying, well, Matt, you're acting like DJ Lagway diced us up. He was only 2 for 6. Dude, just shut up. Can you look at things objectively for even 30 seconds? I'm asking a genuine question, just 30 seconds. You know deep down Lagway gave Florida not just a legit shot to compete in the game, but a legit shot to win the game. And that one pass he had, one of the 2 completions, was a beauty. It was a dime. And I hate people that just look at the box score. It's not just a completion percentage thing. Look at how he moved in the pocket. Look at how he handled the offense. Look at how the team responded to him and stuff like that. DJ Lagway had full control of this Gator offense. When that 4-stringer went in there, no, he didn't know what he was doing, and neither did his teammates. There was zero chemistry. Here's the only thing I'm going to say to Georgia fans, and I get to move on before I go on a 10-minute rant. Just count your blessings when you get them. Georgia got bailed out in this game with the DJ Lagway injury, and that's all there is to say about it. And honestly, you have bigger fish to fry than worrying about would you have lost or won if Lagway would have stayed in there, because you need to worry about your quarterback, Timmy from South Park. Good googly moogly, and I even tweeted this out. When is Kirby Smart going to grow some nuts and bench this guy? This guy's a professional interception thrower, and I saw one person say, well, Matt, when he's not throwing interceptions, he's a really good quarterback. What kind of logic is that? You can't just erase the 3 INTs. Carson Beck sucks. Let's just call it for what it is. And the only reason Georgia fans, or some Georgia fans, I've seen a lot of them be critical of him, but the only reason some will give him the benefit of the doubt is because you're winning. And like I say, winning solves everything. As long as Georgia wins, nobody's really going to be upset if Carson Beck remains a starter or Kirby doesn't bench him. But you know when they will be upset? If Carson Beck has another 3 or 4 interception game, which is possible because he does this every week at this point, and they lose. And I ain't saying you got to bench him the entire season, but it's about sending a message. It's about holding players accountable. It'd be the equivalent to your starting cornerback getting burnt 3 times for an 80-yard touchdown and you don't bench him. Like, what message does that send to your team? This isn't Georgia Southern or Georgia State. It's not like your backup was some 1 or 2-star recruit. This is the University of Georgia. All their backups are 4 and 5-star recruits. Carson Beck's awful, period, the end. I'm not even going to say congratulations to Georgia for the win. To the Florida fan base, I feel sorry for y'all, and we'll move on from there. What about this one on Iowa State? They get upset by old Texas Tech. I don't want to say I saw this one coming, but Iowa State's played in a couple of close games this year, and it seems like it finally caught up to them. Kurt Cinetti in Indiana beat the life out of Michigan State. Not a shocker. Michigan State is awful. We got another upset in the Big 12. What about Houston upsetting K-State? The Big 12, if y'all ain't keeping up with it, it is a hot mess. With Kansas State and Iowa State losing, that was great news for Colorado. Moving on to our night games, A&M gets demolished by the South Kakalakis. I don't know what it is, but Shane Beamer is just due for one of these games every single year. And it's not even like they just upset a team. They normally run them out of the gym. The way South Carolina runs their offense, for those of you that don't keep up with them as much as Bama, it's similar to how Alabama runs theirs with Jalen Milroe. Yeah, Lenore Sellers can throw the ball, but he's also one of their better running backs when he has it in the open field. And the storyline of this game is South Carolina nearly had 300 rushing yards. Rocket Raheem Sanders couldn't be stopped, and Texas A&M with Marcel Reed, they were struggling in the second half to put up points. And when I say struggling, that's kind of sugarcoating it. They didn't even score in the second half of this game. I don't believe anybody's shocked by this because South Carolina is a good football team, believe it or not. They're a couple plays away from being 8-1. Or not 8-1, my apologies, 7-1. They lost to Alabama by 2, and they should have beat LSU, but the ref saved LSU. And what about this one? Louisville, the Cards, go into Clemson's home stadium and just knock the crap out of them. Don't let this final score deceive you because it wasn't this close. It was more so like a 20-point ball game. The Clemson fans, to give you a better perspective, were leaving with 5 minutes to go in the third quarter. You want to know what it is? Dabo Swinney is a dinosaur. He hasn't adapted to the modern times. He's been a dinosaur the past 3 or 4 years, and he is remaining as a dinosaur. Louisville outclassed him in all aspects of the game, and one of the shocking things about this, is Louisville's front seven dominated Clemson's front seven. Louisville had the better defense, had the better offense, had the better quarterback, they had better everything. It wasn't some fluky win. Louisville just dominated them. And that's what's shocking. I understand losing to Louisville because they're a solid ball club. I know they got 3 losses, but a couple of them could have been wins. But it's the fact you didn't even really compete in the game. That was bizarre to me. And what about this one? A good old Rocket Top Tennessee versus Kentucky. And I believe, this was the dark mode game for Tennessee where they wore the all-black uniforms. When I tell you, you miss nothing. If you didn't see this game, I mean nothing. And just for your time's sake, I hope you didn't watch it because it was boring. I watched this game last night. I went back and watched film on it this morning. God, it was so boring. Tennessee's offense is still abysmal. They barely even scored in the first half. And by the way, what is up with their field goal kicker? Do they have the worst field goal kicker in the nation? He missed not 1, not 2, but 3 field goals in the first half. That guy was doo-doo cheeks. And I know some of my volunteer fans may be sitting there saying, well, Matt, you're kind of talking about this game and talking on us like we lost by 10, buddy. We actually lost by 10. And yeah, but come on, man. Kentucky sucks. Hey, I give credit to Tennessee for winning the game, but me and you both know if you keep playing like this, you got no shot of making this playoff. None. Tennessee's not playing good ball on the offensive side of things, but that defense, I'd say they're probably top 3 or 4 in the nation. Okay, let me break it down to you like this. This is a good way to say it. Tennessee's defense, playoff team. Tennessee's offense, not a playoff team. Moving on down here to our final game of the night before we get into Auburn and Vandy. SMU just completely Donkey Kong smash pits. SMU's looking nice, man, and I just wonder how far up the CFP committee is going to put them in the rankings. I'd say they're probably going to have them around maybe 14, 15, something like that. I don't know, man. I guess I have to wait and see. And the last game we're going to talk about is Pavia versus Hugh Freeze. Very similar to the Kentucky-Tennessee game, actually worse. This game was extremely boring. You had Auburn, not a very good team, going up against Vanderbilt, a very good team. I can sum this game up for you real briefly. The storyline of this game has been the storyline for Auburn football this entire year. Number 1, can't win a close game. And number 2, your offense sucks, but more importantly, Peyton Thorne sucks. But here was my biggest question about this game. Why did Jarquez Hunter only have 12 carries? Why? For some of you who don't know, last week, Jarquez Hunter had 278 rushing yards. By himself, 278. And in the following game against Vandy, you only give him 12 carries, and he still had a good amount of average. He had 50 yards. That was just wild. And what lost this game for Auburn is Vanderbilt is driving. They had on like I think it was 6 or 7 yard line of Auburn's territory. It's 10-7. Auburn gets a stop, so Vanderbilt kicks a field goal. They make the field goal. They extend the lead 13-7. It's looking like Peyton Thorne, that offense, they're going to get the ball with a chance to go win the game, because if you get a touchdown, that'll make it 14-13. But just like Lee Corso says, not so fast, my friend. Come to find out, on the field goal attempt, one of Auburn's players used what's called as quote-unquote leverage. It's basically where you jump over the center. You just can't jump over them. Long story short, they got penalized, so Vanderbilt had it 1st and goal, and they punched it in, and yeah, that's ball game. That boosted the lead to 17-7 with a couple minutes to go, and even if Auburn's offense scored, they probably weren't going to win the game unless you get some crazy onside kick. And that play alone just summed up the entire Auburn season. Undisciplined, and you just can't execute when it comes down to big-time moments in the fourth quarter. And that one's extremely frustrating, especially for me. I'm not an Auburn fan. Why even trying to jump over somebody and block the field goal? The field goal doesn't hurt you. You still can win the game if you get a touchdown. Just a bonehead decision from whoever that was. I don't even know the player. And here's my thing. Can you blame that on Hugh Freeze? No, because Hugh Freeze didn't tell him to do that. But here's what I will say. The player's not being disciplined. That does fall on Hugh Freeze and the coaching staff. Pavia continues to own Hugh Freeze and own Auburn. He's 2-0 against Auburn, and he's 3-0 against Hugh Freeze. Not shocked by this game down to the slightest. Congratulations to Vandy, 6-3, and they're at bare minimum going to a bowl game. Many more things I could talk about. I think I covered all the games I wanted to. Let me know your thoughts down below. But